Thanks for watching 205 Outdoors. I'm your host, Freddie Dillard, and today we're going to be talking about something very near and dear to me, and that is snake boots. For a lot of years, I'd almost quit hunting over just, I just have an unluckiness about me when it comes to snakes. I've had multiple encounters. It's a wonder I haven't been actually bit, all the way to the point where in basic training, I stepped over a log and just stepped into a wad of copperheads, and I can't believe I didn't get bit that day. And it's a funny story. I may share it on it's funny now. I may share it on the podcast sometime. But I've just had a lot of bad luck with snakes, to say the least. Those of you that know me know exactly what I'm talking about. So for me, snake boots are critical. I don't care how cold it is outside. I've got on snake boots. If I'm going out there hunting, I have on snake boots. And the guy, when I mentioned this to one of the guys at Bass Pro Shop a couple of years ago, he sort of chuckled when I asked him if he had a snake boot that was, insulated, and he just kind of laughed and he said, well, snakes aren't out when it's cold. And I was like, well, yeah, they are. I don't know if you've hunted in Alabama or not, but you may go to your hunting stand at, 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, and it may be 30 degrees or 40 degrees. But when you leave that stand around lunchtime, the sun's already came out, heated the ground, and it may be 50 or 60 degrees, and snakes will absolutely be out sunning during that. So you always have a chance to have an encounter with a snake in the wintertime. So don't think that they just go away or something. They don't hibernate. I mean, they do still come out, and people still see snakes on cold days. So don't get complacent with that. So I, as a general rule, I do not go in the woods without snake boots. It's just something I just can't do it. So I'm going to talk about the snake boots I have, and I'm going to be replacing some this year, and kind of tell you what my decisions were and the things that I considered, and I'm actually going to have to send one pair back. So let's talk from right to left. So these on the far right this is the Muck Boot Bottomland. They're a waterproof boot, snake-proof boot. And they're a really thick rubber boot, really thick. I don't know if it's got a snake guard. It feels like it's got a snake guard material around it as well. Never seen anyone actually take a bite with these on, but I would think that it would stop a lot of snakes. This is pretty thick material. The only time I really wear these is in the winter time, if I know that I'm going to a part of our property that I'm gonna have to cross a creek, and so I want to make sure they're waterproof, because I normally don't care if my feet get wet, but if it's 20-something degrees, I don't want wet feet, and so I will wear these. That's why they've lasted. I think I've had them 3 or 4 years now, and I'll probably have them another 10 years, because I may not wear these, but a handful of times per year. Otherwise, they're just kind of sitting up. But these are the Muck Boot Wetland Pro Snake. And a decent boot, pretty comfortable also. Next up are my Thorogoods. Now these boots are the ones that I'm replacing this year, unfortunately. I've had them for about 3 seasons now. Great boot. I don't think they make them anymore. It's the reason why I'm not buying another pair of these. The only con to these really was there's a side zipper right here, and it almost immediately locked up, and I've never been able to really use it. But fortunately, my leg fit without it, without needing to unzip it. So that wasn't an issue. But I've seen where people did give them kind of bad reviews off of that. And I don't know if Thorogoods still makes boots, but for whatever reason, they don't make the snake boot anymore. Or at least I've not been able to find them on Amazon or anywhere. But if you can find these, I walked through many creeks with these and never had wet feet. There was a video when I bought these. I had watched a video of somebody taking a rattlesnake bite to them, and it held up, and that was the main reason why I bought them. And so if you can find the Thorogoods, it's a pretty good boot. I mean, they're fairly comfortable, and they're waterproof, and they take care of what you need to take care of most, and that is snake bite. Next up, these are the Twisted X. So I just got these probably about a week ago, I think now. Week and a half. One of my buddies has a pair of these, loves them. And then I think last turkey season, he actually took a bite from a copperhead, and they held up. He was actually walking down I think a trail or something, and his friend was right behind him, and his friend saw the snake bite him. He didn't even know it. He didn't even know he got bit. But you know, the copperhead bit him, did not penetrate the boot. His friend saw it, and of course they got rid of the snake. Job well done there. But this is the Twisted X. I talked to him personally about it, you know, before I ordered him. He is waterproof. He walks through creeks all the time. He's a big time turkey hunter. Never had an issue with wet feet. And I've put these boots on, incredibly comfortable. My only issue with these boots, and it's the reason I'm unfortunately going to send them back, is if you look on these sides right here. So from here to here, this is a 17-inch boot. But it's the cowboy boot size, so it's got this V in here. This V is about a 4-inch V. So to the top of the zipper where your calf would be at is about 12.5 inches. And I'll put them on and actually show you with them on what I'm talking about, but I've got a measuring tape. So I've got a measuring tape, and I'll just kind of show you. I think you'll be able to see. I'm going to set this at 17 inches. All right, so there's 17. This tape measure set to 17 inches. So I'm just going to go right here. And you see, you got 17 inches of protection. But you've only got about, where are we at? About 12 inches of protection right here. So that's a good portion of my calf that's not covered against a snake bite. Now, I know that some of the rattlesnakes we have, if you step on them, they could even bite over one of these 17-inch boots. I get that. But the majority of your snake bites are going to occur, you know, right here on the foot, ankle, and, you know, just up in here. But I don't want to leave that much of my calf exposed to a snake, or my shin. So for that reason, that is the only reason I'm sending these back. So if that's not an issue to you, these boots are pretty reasonably priced, and they're really comfortable, waterproof, and they are snake proof. I can attest at least. I know copperhead probably has the smaller fangs of the pit vipers, but they will at least take a copperhead. Now let's talk about the boot that I decided to go with and why I decided to go with them. These are the Chippewas. This is actually the waterproof Chippewa. This is probably the most expensive snake boot on the market, at least that I found. And I didn't go with it because it's the most. I actually agonized over the price. But you know, like I said, where I hunt at, I don't hunt public land, but the private land I hunt at, a lot of times, especially during turkey season, I'll be on that property by myself. And you know, from where I park my truck at our camp to where I hunt at, you know, that's I think it's probably a couple of miles. And I know at least a 15-minute ride on a four-wheeler to get back there. And then once I get back there, you know, I may have, you know, a lot of walking to do. And so a snake bite would be really bad. It would be really bad anywhere, but when you're that far back in the woods by yourself, you can't really call for help. That could be a major issue. And for that reason, that's kind of what I used to justify spending a little bit more on a pair of snake on these boots. Now, these are supposedly the waterproof version of that. I don't know that I buy that. These are a leather boot. They're probably going to leak. And again, I'm not wearing these when it gets really, really cold. I'm wearing probably the muck boots, you know, just across creeks. This will be my bow season and probably the early part of deer season. If I'm going to a part of our property that I don't have to cross a creek, I'll probably always have these on there, and they're really comfortable. A lot of people had complained about it having a pretty long break-in period, but you know, I put them on the other day, and I really hadn't been out to the property yet with them, but they were pretty comfortable. It's a pretty comfortable boot, and it's 17 inches all the way around. And the most important part about this boot, so if you log on to, and I'm going to actually include the video with YouTube, they actually tested these. I think they were at some sort of rattlesnake rodeo, and you know, the guy took multiple rattlesnake bites all over this boot, and he was just stepping on them and letting them tag him. And the guy, I mean, obviously, if you have that much confidence in this boot, that's the boot I want on my foot when I'm back there like that. It's just so much riding on it. And again, I enjoy being in the outdoors. I love the woods, but you know, you don't want to take something and just not be as safe as possible. And I get that, you know, cottonmouths lay on limbs and you can easily get bit up high, but I at least want to do my due diligence to take care of myself out there. And I encourage you to do the same. And I'm not saying Chippewa is for everybody, but make sure you got a pair of snake boots. You know, these Thorogoods weren't that expensive. Rocky makes a good boot. I think Danner's had some decent review, but make sure whatever boot you get, you know, I do recommend that you get one that your legs covered at least to 17 inches. I do recommend that. You know, these right here having the dip in them, it was a deal breaker, and I really hated it. Man, these boots were comfortable. But I'm going to put them on for you, and I'll show you how much of my calf is actually exposed compared to these. And you know, you wouldn't think that it's that big a difference, but it's significant, and I don't want to, you know, take a chance on getting hit right there on the calf. And if I can avoid it, I want to try to avoid a snake bite. Anyway, guys, all right, so I'm going to show you real quick. This is the Muck boot. This is the rubber waterproof snake-proof boot. It's the Wetland Pro Snake version. It is pretty dense material. It fits on my leg really good. I don't have huge calves, but you know, so it does fit pretty snug. But I mean, really comfortable boot. Waterproof all the way up to the top, and it's pretty dense material. I do think this would probably hold up to a snake. I feel comfortable enough that I do wear them. So if you're hunting somewhere where you're going to be continuously crossing creeks and you need a good solid waterproof boot, highly recommended. Let's check. Pretty sure these are 17-inch boots. There you go, 17 inches to the top. Right there. And that's all the way around. But that's the Muck boot Wetland Pro Snake boot. Good boot. Next up, I've got my Thorogoods. Now these are well broke in at this point, but they're just, yeah, I've had them for about 3 seasons, and it's just time to replace them. I may still keep them just for working around the house a little bit. They serve their purpose. Actually, to the top of these is about 18 inches. That's an 18-inch boot right there. The back is right at, oops, I can get to it, is about the 16.5 inch, and the front's about 18 inches from the bottom, from the ground. Good solid boot. Like I said, they've served me well, and they're very waterproof. I've never had any issues with my feet getting wet, if you can find them. And I don't know if another company's just taken over for Thorogood with these boots, and that may be the issue, but very comfortable boot. I like them. The zipper is the only issue. That almost all that just went out right after I got it, so just keep that in mind. All right, next up we've got the Twisted X, and super comfortable. It really does pain me to say anything negative about this boot at all. That height thing is just really, it's just something I could not overlook. So again, from the floor to the top of this would be to the top of the boot was 18 inches. These are technically considered a 17-inch boot, and that is, all of them are. They're measuring from the sole, top of the sole. But from the ground, it's covering right at 18 inches. Here's the problem. And let's see, from the ground, that's about 15 or maybe 15.5 inches. From the top of the sole, though, it's like 13 inches. And again, I know that's not a lot, but you know, you can take a look and see that's leaving a good bit of my calf exposed right there. Enough that it made me uncomfortable. I wouldn't risk it. But if that's something that's not an issue for you, I mean, it's the likelihood of you getting bit right there is probably on the lower end. They're probably going to hit you, in this area and all the way around. So you're probably covered. But if I can protect myself all the way around, that's what I'm going to do. Anyway, this is the Twisted X. Okay, these are the Chippewa snake boots. These are the waterproof version, as I said earlier. I've heard mixed reviews. I haven't stepped in water with them yet, but I've heard some people say their feet were wet afterwards, or some people said after a few months they became not waterproof. Anyway, that's not. Well, I'm glad. I hope that they do stay waterproof. It's not my biggest concern. Like I said, there's videos of these boots holding up to multiple rattlesnake bites, and that's the most important thing to me. This is the Chippewa though. Let's look at the tape measure. So from the floor, these are 18 inches, and they are actually, if you look at these, as opposed to the Twisted X, they are 19 inches in the back. Just the way that they're made. These are actually 19 inches from the back, and then on the sides and everywhere else they're about 18 inches from the ground. And they typically measure, they call them 17-inch boots from about midways up the sole. But in the back they're just a tad bit higher, which is, like I said, it's the opposite of the Twisted X. Very comfortable. Like I said, I've been told that there's a break-in period with these, and I'm just maybe when I go walk in them, I may notice they're a little stiff or something then. But for right now, just walking around the room, very comfortable boot. I'm happy with them. Like I said, they're on the pricier side, but it's a quality boot. And like I was saying, if you can spend a couple $100s now and get a boot that's going to last like the Thorogoods last couple of years, 3 years, or you spend $400 and get some that last. I've seen several reviews of people that's had these Chippewas for 6 or 7 years, 8 years, and they even have people that do repairs to them and things like that. So if it's a good quality boot and it's going to be around for multiple years, it may be worth just paying a little bit extra up front. And anyway, it's just something to consider anyway. And like I said, there's plenty of videos out there, and I'm going to post them on here that on this review of people getting tagged by rattlesnakes with these on, and I could see where they would hold up for sure. This is and of all the boots that I've just put on my feet, this could just be all this could be all smoke and mirrors. I mean, I could get bit tomorrow and it goes right through, but these feel more sturdy than the other boots that I've put on. I will say that. Like the fabric right here and everything, the leather, everything does. So anyway, these are the Chippewa. Anyway guys, thanks for watching 205 Outdoors. I hope this is helpful to you. And please remember to like and subscribe.